Well, Dakar 2002 is certainly underway as we are now well into our second day of the world's motorsport epic event. We've had some drama in the bikes. Just stay tuned and find out who has been victorious on one of the most muddiest stages you've ever seen. And in the car section, well, surprises there with a new car indeed. So this is looking back to last night in the town of Arras towards the north of France, some 120 miles north of Paris itself. In the town square, some 18,000 people saw the defending motorcycle champion on the Dakar, Fabrizio Mioni from Tuscany in Italy, being seen off by Hubert Auriol, a winner himself, of course, on bikes and in cars. Then we, of course, saw Jordi Arcarons, De Gavado, South Africa's Alfie Cox with the Gauloise KTM, and France's hero, Richard Sanct, a two-time winner. He didn't get to the finish last year. He'll be hoping for good stuff this year. So will Giovanni Sala. He is teammate to Mioni on the twin. Kari Tiernan from Finland, smiling as ever. And then Nani Roma and Cyril Desprez, the young Frenchman. All of the emotions beginning to come to the fore as we see number 171, the quad of South African Wikus van de Venter, with his Bombardier quad coming over the starting ramp. Hubert Auriol shaking everybody's hand. A countdown had started for the cars. Go for Jutta Kleinsmith, the defending Dakar champion, the German lady driver with Andreas Schulz alongside her in her brand new Mitsubishi Pajero. Voted by the German public as their top motorsports person from 2001, ahead of Michael and Ralf Schumacher. She's certainly got something to look up to. Next over the starting ramp was Hiroshi Mashioka. Hero or villain, call him what you will, but he's a clever driver and a very, very clever engineer. Jean-Louis Schlesser going for his third win. Gregoire de Mavius, the gentleman from Belgium. Carlos Souza from Portugal in his Mitsubishi. And Jose Maria Servia in a similar buggy to Schlesser, but with a petrol V6. De la Verne in his Nissan. Gilles Picard and Jean-Pierre Fontenay, the former victor in his Mitsubishi. Stefan Pederhansel, six-time winner on two wheels in the Dakar. Bruno Sabi in the Ford Pro Truck. Kenjiro Shinozuka, he's got a new co-driver this year with Delizotti. And Luc Alphonse, the 1997 World Downhill Ski Champion. And all sorts of other bits of machinery there as well. But the biggest crowd and the biggest cheer had been reserved for French pop star Johnny Hallyday. 120 million albums he has sold. He's got René Mech alongside him just in the background there, a former three-time winner of the Dakar and French motorsport hero. I'll tell you what, there wasn't half a scrum outside his hotel last night once the word had got out where Johnny Hallyday was staying. Onto the trucks. We saw the Sugawara truck, the Japanese Hino, and the real camels of the desert. And then the Unimog Mercedes-based machine with Bernard Anquetil after Corrado Patano, and then the Kamaz, the single Kamaz of Vladimir Chagin. And after the starting ramp, the motorcycles, the cars and the trucks had to find their way somehow through the enormous crowd that had gathered in Arras. The popularity of the Dakar quite breathtaking.
J'ai fait combien au roadbook là?
However, but for motorcycle number 150, Serge Dugas, he was in all sorts of trouble a mere 800 metres after the start when he ran into some fuel problems. After looking around the bike and then actually getting some help of some friendly and knowledgeable spectators, even know the names of some of them, so he had to do the courtesies and find out that the gentleman with the white cap was called Bertrand. And then he had to go for the big kick, didn't want to drain the battery, so went for the kickstart and... So the first person to run into a problem was actually... He'd forgotten to turn the fuel on. Now this is Britain's Matt Stevenson. He's co-driving for Al Hadjari. And he's actually saying in French, ironically, that he's had to make his first pit stop. Well, why? Well, Saïd Al Hadjari, two-time Middle East rally champion in his Mitsubishi, he'd cooked his clutch right in the town of Arras, and therefore he called upon the services of the local Mitsubishi dealer to get the thing in the air and take the box out, and the proprietor of the garage doing his little bit for World Motorsport on the Dakar.
It's first race in Dakar, yes.
Yeah. It's a hard time now.
Already hard time. I know the race is very hard, but it's hard time already.
This is Dominic Serrier, who's the team boss for Mitsubishi. He said it's not normal to have so many people on the streets, and it's meant that Saïd has had to slip the clutch getting through the people. Racing clutch, remember. And a piece of that clutch has fallen into the area around the clutch, and that's meant that we have had to change the unit. However, as with all things on the Dakar, it got fixed, and Saïd Al Hadjari, his first ever Dakar, not too good a start, but he was on his way. So then, day 2 of Dakar 02, Châteauroux to Narbonne, a road section of some 82 kilometres after the overnight halt, then a short stage of some 6 kilometres at La Souterraine, and then a massive 530 kilometre road section down south to Narbonne itself, making a total of 618. So many of the riders arrived at the start of the stage this morning, very, very cold indeed, and you can see the conditions, an absolute quagmire. Well, when the recce and the route was planned, maybe even some 12 months ago or even 18 months ago, I bet you they didn't quite plan on this amount of rain. And some people, these poor motorcycle riders, your heart really does have to go out to them, falling already. If they weren't wet enough and cold enough, they were certainly then muddy enough. Mike Exton's there from the UK, battling through with his Husserberg. Some of the riders at the start hugging the exhausts, hugging the crankcases to try and warm their hands up even after the 82 kilometre road section, which is some 50 miles in length. And after the stage, as you can see, the results of the mud. However, it was motorcycle number 139 who came out on top. Here he is, just about to hand his time card in, and it's Pierre Quinonero on his KTM, entered under the Dakar Jura banner. Now, the Jura is a region of France with some small rolling hills, and there's a two-man motorcycle team, and Pierre, he actually blitzed the opposition to finish first on today's stage. And it really does prove that sometimes the underdogs really can win a stage over the Dakar against the professionals. He'll be certainly grateful for the prize money. And let us not forget, ladies and gents, on a production bike, Kari Tiernan, 6-time world enduro champion, second on the stage, some 5 seconds back of the winner. It has to be said that the motorcycles did run in reverse order, so Tiernan running quite a way behind Pierre Quinonero, who was, as I say, motorcycle number 139. Third on the stage and getting a very luminous orange Repsol KTM Dirty very quickly. Nani Roma, third on the stage. He was 15 seconds back of the winner and a 10 back of Tiernan, taking things very steadily indeed, as you can see through the corners. Nani Roma, former BMW Works rider last year, unfortunately broke his leg just before the rest day in Attar on the 2001 edition. Fourth on the stage today, Frenchman Cyril Desprez, 16 seconds back of the winner, only 4 back of Nani Roma. Winner of a stage on last year's Dakar late in the event. The young pro from France, the first of the Gauloise riders today. Let us not forget that he won the recent UAE Marlborough Desert Challenge only just a couple of weeks back in November. Fifth today was the teammate of the winner. Now this is Celso Carraro on another KTM, teammate in the same Euro Dakar squad. So finishing fifth today, certainly a good scalp. Jean Broussy from France, the second of the KTM Gauloise sponsored machines. Jean Broussy finishing 33 seconds back with a time of 6 minutes 45. Francois Flick on the German-run Touratech 650 rally machine. Lives in the local region, so he was very keen indeed to put up a show for his local crowd. Number 87, Christophe Mayon, the highest Honda rider on today's stage with his 650 XR. Mayon finishing in 8th position. Flick and Broussy, by the way, dead heating. Here is Eric Verhoef, the Dutchman, and then we move on to Esteve Pujol. Verhoef in 9th, Pujol finishing in 10th position with his Repsol machine. But what about Mioni, the defending champion? He was back in 16th position, just 1 place ahead of Alfie Cox, who was cold but soldiered through. So then, the results. What a shock for Pierre Quinonero. 6 minutes 12, finishing 5 ahead of Tiernan, Roma, Desprez and Carrara. Nani Roma saying to ride that sort of stage you really have to choose a very good line through the corners. It's not easy to see that line. I chose wide lines, but I'm not an expert in these muddy conditions. Many others are better at it. Still Desprez, he says we had a great deal of fun on this very slippery stage, but it's okay for me.
C'est sympa, on a voulu faire, on a fait un petit peu de spectacle et les gens qui ont attendu depuis ce matin doivent être contents quand même.
The question, what happened in the middle of the stage? He says that I made a little mistake and my engine stopped, so I had to restart the bike. Took me a little time, but now it's okay.